Shalom, peace, and blessings. Welcome to the Fourth Angels Learning Center. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. We're going to be continuing our Fruit of the Spirit study, understanding grasping the real understanding of each fruit, and not just accepting the common understanding or definition of these words, but actually diving in deeper, trying to figure out what it's actually saying to us when it says that we ought to produce these fruit. I think that the more that we understand what the fruit actually reveals and how it's manifested is the more that we can surrender to these things and allow the Ruach, the Spirit, to move in us and put these things in us. If we do not know what it is that Yah wants from us, then we cannot perform that which glorifies him. If we glorify him with our actions and with our obedience, we should know what to obey, what to actually do, what things look like, so we can ask him for the right things. So we're going to dive right into it. Today is going to be the fruit. Let's go to Galatians chapter 5 just to see where we are. All right, Galatians chapter 5, looking at verse 22. We are on the fruit of faith. And it's interesting because you're supposed to have faith to receive the Spirit. You have faith in Yah and in his Son and in the resurrection of his Son to receive the gift of the Ruach. And then when you receive the gift of the Spirit, it produces this faith. It produces these fruits. Now, faith is a state of being as well. It's not just something that you have in your mind, or it's not just a belief. It's a state of being. And we're going to talk about also a little bit about how we encourage the faith of others, because faith is also a fruit, a gift of the Ruach as well, a gift of the Spirit. So let's look at this, right? First thing we're going to go to is Deuteronomy, just to establish the meaning of what faith is. Deuteronomy chapter 32, looking at verse 20. Look what it says. It says, "And he said, I will hide my face from them, and I will see that their end shall be, for they are a very forward generation, children whom there is no faith." Whom there is no faith. Let's look at what that word means in the Hebrew. The Hebrew word is H529, and it is the Hebrew word emun, and it means established. It means trustworthiness, right? Trustworthiness. There's also elements where it says there's no truth in them. It also comes from 539, which is aman, which is where we get the word aman or amen, what many people call it. It means to build up, to support. So it's very interesting how the word faith means to be established. But it seems like the way that it's being used today is that you can place faith on any unsettling thing, meaning like anything that's not really established, you can have faith in. Like, I want to get this job, just have faith and you could get this job. Or I want to do this in my career, just have faith and it will come to fruition. That type of mentality is from the law of attraction. That is not biblical. That's not scriptural. To have faith in something is to put your faith in something that is unmovable, right? The children are supposed to have faith, but have faith in what? The children are supposed to have faith in Yah. Let's go to a few more scriptures. Let's go to Habakkuk. We don't want to I think the best thing to do is to do a word search, and you'll see how amazing and how absolute this word for faith is. It does not incorporate doubt. Look at what it says here, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. It says, "Behold, his soul which I lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." And let's look at that word. The just shall live by his faith. H530. It's amunah, which is the noun version of it, okay? The noun version of it, and it means firmness. right? It means security, right? Moral fidelity, meaning like stability, like your faithfulness, stability, steady. This is very important for us to understand, because when we think about faith, we can't incorporate faith with looseness or doubt or things like this. This is why whenever the disciples had a lack of faith, it was because they were doubting, or they were in disbelief, or they didn't trust, because they didn't trust. When your trust is the ground that you're on is shaky, especially when you're walking with Yah. And this is something that we all are surrendering to. This is something that we're all needing in our life, because it's not easy to take the trust and dependency that you place on yourself, right? The security that you place in your job or your family or your friends, and take it from what you can see every day and place it on one whom you can't see. And I think this is one of the things that make it such a big part of the believer's life is faith, because it's a complete contrast of what we were known or grown up to do. To have stability in what you are able to do and what you are able to see and what you are able to control. And now placing that trust on Yah is what makes us surrender, is what makes us connect to Yah. That's why it says here, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. This is how we lived. We lifted up ourselves. We were firm in our own eyes. We were firm in our own wisdom. When we were in the world, or even when before we had our own looking to ourselves for the answer. The world teaches to follow your heart, follow your inclinations, follow your gut, follow your convictions. So it's very interesting how the scriptures is now taking this dynamic away from the focus is being taken away from us on him. You understand? So it's like this is a big deal. And I think that many people, because they hear it so much and it's kind of thrown around so much, it's not really taken seriously. It's not really given much thought or time, So the understanding of faith is to be established, is to be firm in him, in what he says. And in being firm in what he says, it allows us to live by this firmness, right? When we place our firm trust and our security on him, then we will live by that trust and that security in him. The righteous will live by that trust and that firmness in him. No one else. No one else. Let's look at now. Remember, we always talked about this with the other fruit, is that when you have a tree bears fruit, not for the tree to partake of its own fruit, but it bears fruit so others could partake in it. So how is faith a fruit that others can partake in? Well, let's look at the spiritual gifts. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12. See if we could get a little insight. So we're looking at the fruit, the manifestations of the Spirit. It says here, the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal, meaning to profit those who are outside. It says, for to no one is the Spirit given the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit. So for to one is given the the word of wisdom, another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit. Interesting. Faith is a gift, is a spiritual gift, and it is manifested right here, verse 7. It is manifested to profit and benefit those other than yourself. So how? My faith definitely benefits me. Our faith benefits us, definitely. Because by faith, we receive the gift of the Ruach. And by receiving the Ruach, we develop the fruit. And also we develop the character. So how is it a benefit for them if within ourselves we're receiving the benefit of the Spirit, of the Ruach? because this gift has to be manifested. And that manifestation is not just simply with works or actions. The gift is a manifestation for the profit of others or the benefit of others. Very important. Let's go down to verse 11. It says, but all these work that one and the self same spirit. It comes from the same ruach, the same spirit. It says, dividing to every man severally as he wills. So the spirit is giving each person of the body. As you continue to read this chapter, you'll see that it connects to other things. Now, looking at all of the gifts, wisdom, knowledge, healing, miracles, prophecy, speaking in different languages in order to promote the good news, in order to promote the message of truth. So faith, how does my faith affect someone else? See, this is how the faith affects someone else. By faith, when you respond to Yah's commands, when you respond to him and you speak these things, the reasons why you are performing these things, it ignites faith in another person. It allows another person to recognize and see the things that is happening in you. You see what I'm saying? The things that's happening in you is now being manifested and seen by others, and it's encouraging them to go seek it. Let me show you this verse. Everybody knows this verse. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, and it says, now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Let's break this down. The substance of things hoped for. Let's see if we could look at some other translations to get a better insight. The TS 2009, it says the belief is the substance of what is expected. Absolutely. Expected. The proof of what is not seen. You see that? Proof of something that's not seen. Why? Because it's in you. This belief, this faith is in you. Let's look at another, see if we can look at another one. All right, let's break it down. So the substance actually means, it means the confidence. It means the confidence. So faith is the confidence of things, and then the word hope for. And when we think about the word hope, let me see if I could find, I want to show you guys how our English language really affects how we think when we apply modern, updated English to, as we read the scriptures. You have to go back and you have to find the understanding of the words that is being used to relate a message in the scripture. So look at what it says here. Definition of hope. It says a feeling of expectation, desire for a certain thing. See that? So faith is not confidence. It's a feeling for it. It's a possibility. You look at the sentence that it uses. He looked through her belongings in the hope of coming across some information. Not sure. It's they will call it right here. You see it. They will call it an optimistic mind state, but it's not an assured mind state. It's not a mind that is sure. It's a mind that is positive that they might find something, right? Or might do something. Look what it says, a feeling of trust, want something to happen or be the case. You want it. He's hoping for an offer of compensation. You see that? It's not something that is definite. Let's go back to what the scriptures define hope as. I think this would be very interesting. Because the way that we use our language, we have to use it a little bit different. Hope comes from this word, G1679. Let's look at it. 1679, the Strong says, it means to expect. When you expect something, is like, I know this is going to happen. To confide, to expect, to trust. When you confide in someone, it means that you trust in it. Not that there's no doubt in expectation. There's no doubt in confiding. Imagine you go to somebody and you want to tell them something that's going on with you, and you want to confide in them, but there's no trust. That wouldn't be a good idea to to communicate to that person. So this word hope in our language as it's used today, it doesn't mean that it wasn't used this way before, but as it's used today, it does not relay a firmness. It does not relay a security. When you have hope, it's supposed to relay a security in something very specific. Belief is the confidence in things that is expected, things that is expected. And then it says the evidence. I think we know the evidence, the proof, the conviction, the evidence of things not seen. Why is it not seen? The evidence is not seen. Well, I'm sorry, the evidence is seen. The things that's not seen is your faith. So the faith that's in your heart is not seen, but the evidence of it is seen. And this is very important because when you go down, it starts to break down the demonstration or the manifestation of the faith of our forefathers and all the patriarchs. It says, by faith, Abel offered. That's an action. It's manifested. Their faith is manifested when Abel offered a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained a witness that he was righteous, Elohim testifying of his gifts, and by it being dead yet speaks. It says, by faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and he was not found because Elohim had translated him. Because before he was translated, he had a testimony that he pleased Elohim. But without faith, it is impossible to please Elohim. What does it mean? Without faith, without a belief of trust and confidence that is manifested in action to show another person what's inside of you, the reason. So it says, without faith, it is impossible to please Yah. For he that comes to Yah must believe that he is and is a rewarder of them that diligently seeks him. So you see the two elements here, belief that he is, and then a rewarder of them that diligently seeks him. A person that believes in Yah, it's manifested in the seeking of Yah, searching his word, in prayer, speaking good things, thinking good things, being the way that the person that you believe in is. So if you continue to go down, this whole chapter is going to continue to show you two elements. By faith, Noah, being warned of the things of Elohim, of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house. So by faith, Noah prepared the ark. You see that by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into the place which he should after receive as inheritance, he obeyed. You see that? This is how the fruit can be effective to other people. Matter of fact, Messiah made that clear as well, that your manifestation of your actions based off of belief can cause someone to also believe. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. Now, Matthew chapter 5, it says this, let your light shine before men, right? Let me highlight that. Let your light shine in front of men, that they may see your good works. And how are they going to respond after that? They can glorify your Father in heaven now. They know how. Because when your works is seen, they're going to ask questions. And when they ask questions, you can tell them where your works comes from. This is located in Deuteronomy chapter 4. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Look at what it says here. I'm going to go to verse 5 and 6. It says, I taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yah, my Elohim, commanded me, that you should do so in the land where you go to possess it. Verse 6. It says, keep therefore and do them, right? Do them. This is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations. The sight of the nations. This is what the nations is going to see. Not only see, watch this. It says, which shall hear, the nation shall hear all these statutes and say. So not only are they going to see these things, but then they're going to hear you relay the wisdom and the understanding of those actions. It's a natural process. There's no way that the people that have no clue of who Yah is going to see you do something and not be curious themselves. especially if they've never seen this before. You can see that when people have these documentaries and National Geographics and how people are so intrigued about how other people do things that they've never seen before. They'll sit there for hours trying to retain this information. This is the same way they're going to respond when they see you doing what Yah wants you to do. When they're seeing you manifest your faith and belief, and when you tell them that you're doing something because of your belief, it's going to stir up that curiosity in them. So it says that they're going to see this, and when they understand it from you explaining to them, they're going to say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. This is how we want the nations to respond. This is how we want the fruit to be received. If we are unable to demonstrate our faith in which we affect the nations and the people around us in sight and in word, not just in sight, many people would be like, oh, just use your actions. No, you need to explain where it comes from. You need to express your belief as well. When you express your belief after they've seen the actions of it, the manifestation of it, it will stir something up in another person. This is why we ought not to even be afraid of even expressing ourselves, because the world is not afraid to express themselves. The world will express themselves all day long to you in temptation and, trying to draw you in. They'll express themselves all day. So we ought not to be afraid or ashamed or nervous or any aspect of that. Even if we're nervous, we ought to not allow these emotions to stop us from not only believing in our hearts and minds, but manifesting that belief in our actions, trusting and believing and obeying in Yah, even in front of everybody, even if everybody's looking right at you. It doesn't matter. We need to manifest this faith so others can see the fruit, so they can see and understand what's actually inside you. Remember, it's the confidence of things that is expected, and it's the evidence or the proof of things that's not seen. You understand? The things that's not seen is in you. So when that fruit is manifested, then it's seen. It's not seen directly, but it can be seen. So they can see the evidence and they can apply the evidence to their own life. So I hope that this was a blessing. I hope that this helped us to understand a little bit more about this gift of faith, not only the gift of faith, but also the fruit of faith and how we can bear that fruit for others. So praise Yah. I hope that this was a blessing. Look forward to the next study. Shalom, everyone.